Hi, this video is going to look at 6 mark questions. 6 mark questions are the ones that, according to the examiner's report, students have the most difficulty with getting into the top band. So this video might be helpful in helping you get 5 or 6 marks out of a 6 mark question. So you'll probably get the most out of this video. I'll try and keep it short, but you'll probably get the most out of it if you pause the video and do a bit of work when I suggest, so that you kind of get thinking about some of these issues. So the first time I'm going to suggest you pause the video is now, and you read these questions. Okay, so these are all examples of 6 mark questions taken from previous years, and you can see that the 6 mark question is always asking for one thing, all right, and that's the first thing that students get caught up on. Often they'll want to write about more than one thing, all right. So if you find yourself using the word also or additionally, that's an indication that you've moved on from your one thing. Now, what one thing do you need to talk about? Well, it could be a benefit, it could be a potential impact or effect, and remember that an effect can be both positive or negative. But if you're going to talk about a positive thing, pick your one positive impact and stick with it. Or if it's negative, same thing. Pick your negative impact and stick with it. Or it might ask you for a method or a way of doing things. So the key thing is it's asking you for one thing, and you need to read the question carefully. Are you being asked for a benefit, an impact or an effect, which could be positive or negative depending on which way you want to go, or is it asking for you to explain a way or a method? So AQA do not have any one system for you to use, right? And this sounds silly, but it's always in the examiner's reports. It's always in the feedback that AQA give teachers. They just want students to answer the question. They don't have a set way that the 6, the 9 or the 12 marks should be answered. They just want you to read the question and use the case study to answer it. Having said that, of course, people want systems to help them, which I quite understand. But if the system that your teacher gives you or the system that I give you today doesn't work for you, then just make sure you answer the question using the case study and you won't go far wrong. So, having said that, I quite like the acronym PEAL for point. You make a clear point. One thing, of course. You use evidence from the case study. You clearly explain it to show analysis, and everything in your answer is linked back to answering the question. Now, when you give students something like this, understandably, they often think that it has to appear in this order. It doesn't. I like to think of these, whatever system you're being told, think of it as a checklist, right? You're going to, in your paragraph, there's going to be one clear point. There's going to be bits of evidence from the case study, certainly more than one bit of evidence from the case study, weaved into your explanation, which is a chain of argument that clearly links back to and answers the question. So that's the structure. This case study is from the paper 2, 2020. It's available online through the AQA website. Alternatively, you can just pause the video and read the case study here. And the question that I'm going to be answering is one benefit to trade up of expanding through franchising. Okay. So when you're approaching a 6 mark question, remember that there is going to be evidence in the case study to help you. You cannot answer the question without having read the case study. All right. And I would take your time in reading the case study personally. I wouldn't try and skim read it because you'll miss stuff. Now, the key business term is franchising. So when I'm reading the case study, I'm going to look out for that key word. All right. And the case study is usually fairly helpfully written so that all of the evidence that you can use for the 6 marker is available for you to see. So when I look at this paragraph, I see the word franchising, I see the word franchise, I see franchisee, I see franchisees. Okay, so there's a lot of evidence that I'm going to be able to gain from this paragraph that will help me answering the question. They introduced franchising in 2015. And this graph here, you can see that in 2015 they had 20 stores. It only started in 2002, so it took them 13 years to get to 20 stores. Since 2015, when they introduced franchising, they've grown to 150 stores. So there's some evidence there. And then, well, that says here they've expanded rapidly, but they only had limited funds. The franchisees pay £150,000. That money is used to design and fit the shop, and they need to pay an ongoing royalty fee. All right, so there's loads of evidence in there that you can bring. So what would I talk about? All right, so, you know, there's loads of things. It doesn't have to be this, but the immediate thing that I thought of was the financial benefit of franchising. There's loads of evidence from the case study. I've just been through it. I will be looking to weave that evidence into an answer that explains my one point, that have been financial benefits. So they've had low cost expansion. They had limited funds, right? But they were able to expand because each franchisee put in £150,000, and they're going to gain higher revenues as a result of it. Why? Because they've got an ongoing royalty fee of 7%. So the clear link to the question is it's one benefit, and that benefit is financial. So that's what my whole paragraph is going to be about. Now, here it is written up. Feel free to pause the video and have a read of the paragraph. Okay, just to show you how much evidence I've got here, I've put in specific evidence that I couldn't have known unless I read the case study in yellow. And you can see I've got, you know, a fair amount, let's say, you know, certainly more than one piece of evidence. And it's all weaved into the point I make in this first sentence. They're going to benefit financially. All right, they were able to expand rapidly despite their limited funds. I've mentioned the £150,000 fee. That goes towards designing the store and training. So each franchise, because it's, you know, well designed, the management have been trained, they should be able to make high revenues, and that leads to higher royalty fees. All right, so everything in this paragraph is about the financial benefits, and I would imagine this would be plenty to get me into the top band. So, in summary, there is no one structure for answering a 6-mark question. Just answer the question. If your teacher gives you a structure that works for you, then that's brilliant. Use it. If they give you a structure that's confusing you or stressing you out in any way, just think, okay, well, I just need to use evidence from the case study to explain something and get on with writing it. You honestly won't go far wrong. Just make sure you read the question carefully. All right. Are they asking for an impact? In which case it could be positive or negative. Are they asking for a benefit? In which case it has to obviously be positive. Or is it a method, a way of doing something? Either way, you just focus on that one thing. You need to incorporate evidence from the case study, and we definitely want more than one piece of evidence in our answer. And the one thing that I will suggest is you make a clear point in your first sentence, all right? Just like I did here. My clear point is the benefit is the benefits are financial, right? And then everything in your paragraph should be related to that one point that you make. So hopefully you found that helpful, and good luck in your exam.